Welcome to Intuitive Living. I'm your host, Silvia, and today we're going to continue with the chakras. I will explain a little bit about the chakras. In the last episode, we did the root chakra, sacral chakra, and solar plexus chakra. In today's episode, we will be talking about the heart chakra and the throat chakra. So yes, going back to the viewers who didn't have the chance to watch the first episode on the chakras, want to just explain a little bit of what the chakras are. So we have thousands of energy centers within us and around us, and they're called chakras. They look like round discs, they spin. Each chakra has its own color, and each color associates to different mental and physical aspects of a person. And I'm actually able to see them. So when people come into my session, I'm able to give them their aura, their chakras. In Reiki, I'm able to actually figure out or see which chakras are out of balance. So yes, so that would be the chakras, just very brief explanations what they are. And we're going to go straight back into starting off with the heart chakra. So the heart chakra is actually located at the heart area. It's called heart chakra, also anahata. It should be emerald green. Most people, when I see them in sessions, they have a little bit of darker heart chakra. I think it's just normal. We tend to be out in the world, obviously, and take on other people's emotions or just feeling emotionally attached to something, and that could definitely show a little bit different in color comes to the heart chakra. But yes, on a nice balanced heart chakra, it would be actually emerald green. So anahata means in itself unhurt, unstruck, and unbeaten. So each Sanskrit word for the name of the chakra has its own meaning in itself too. The heart chakra associates with balance, calmness, and serenity. Some positive aspects of the heart chakra. So if the heart chakra is very nicely balanced, if I see it nicely emerald green and shiny, it's actually someone that feels very peaceful, joyful, somebody that's trusting and has compassion, and lots of empathy, but with healthy boundaries. So sometimes people have empathy, but they don't have healthy boundaries, and they still could throw off their color a little bit for the heart chakra. Negative aspects of a heart chakra energy, and anyone that has more green in their energy, it would be anger, mistrust, any kind of jealousy or sadness. I see a lot of people who come and see me, obviously they come because they do need help. So most people are not going to come because they're absolutely perfectly balanced. And a lot of people come because they lost someone, a deceased loved one, or just a relative. Obviously they're not going to have that perfectly balanced heart chakra because again, there's sadness, there's mourning, there's grief, and that could be all affected with your heart energy. So going into how to kind of like increase and balance that chakra, there's a few different ways. One of them would be incense. So literally lighting an incense to kind of balance the chakra would be rose, patchouli, and geranium. In aromatherapy, rose is one of the highest vibration in aromatherapy. So I would always recommend working with rose oil, rose essential oil, especially if you're grieving or any kind of heartaches, anything where the heart feels a little bit off. That would be a perfect essential oil to work with. I want to also give my viewers, I think I didn't mention this before in the previous episode, a really good source to get really clean, pure essential oils would be oshadi.com. That would be a really nice, clean, clear, therapeutic essential oils. You don't want to go to Walmart and get rose oil. Rose oil is not necessarily $2. It's actually really, really expensive if you get a clean, clear, pure essential oil. So just want to make sure I shared that with you guys too. Most of the time, if people work with rose oil, it's diluted with jojoba oil. So, I mean, it's not really like a negative thing if that's what works for you. I like to use the clean, clear essential oil. And again, I spend quite a bit of money on the clean, clear essential rose oil. The element attached to the heart chakra is actually air. The sense attached to it is touch. The sound, we can actually balance our chakras with different sounds. It's actually YAM, Y-A-M. So capital Y, capital A, capital M. Crystals to balance your heart chakra will be rose quartz, jade, amazonite, malachite. Anything green will help to balance that heart chakra. Green and pink. Pink is also, it's a micro chakras, I call them. So pink would be more associated with the upper heart chakra. Similar to the lower heart chakra, it has to do with empathy, compassion. Pink people to me, if I can explain a little bit, pink people to me, if I see a pink person, they can be super shy, a little bit guarded before they let their guard down. So they need to trust the people first. They need to know that they're absolutely safe before they share anything about themselves. But once they do, they can be goofy, funny, outgoing, very, very loyal, fun energy to be around, very light energy. But again, it's under their own terms when they feel comfortable to show you that side of them. So, but again, going back, so we have the lower heart chakra, that's located right over our heart, and that would be actually emerald green. And then a tiny bit above, there is the upper heart chakra, and that would be actually pink. Don't see many pink people. Most people stay in the green energy. It's just what it is. I feel there's not really a competition. If you're yellow, that's who you are. I always say to my clients too, make sure you truly accept where you are at that moment and what energy comes in at that time. Try not to be somewhere else. Because I think each chakra has its positive and negative. And it's not necessarily that one chakra is better than the other one. It's just where you hold yourself and how you feel at that moment. So working with your own chakra, so meaning if I give you're a blue person or a green person, work with those qualities that are actually really positive and really enhance that, and be okay that you're not purple at that moment. Because again, we all have all the chakras. It's not like you have the purple, the yellow, the green, the orange missing. You actually have all of them, but you might hold yourself in one particular area a little bit more, and that would show to me, and I would pinpoint that out. But again, there's no competition. I want to make sure I explain that a little bit. So comes to how to balance a heart chakra. There's through yoga. Yoga is a really nice way of doing some heart opening poses. Camel pose is one of them. So any kind of back bends, anything where you have to stretch your chest will be a nice heart opening energy. So if you have a hard time trusting, any kind of like sadness, so going into any kind of heart opening poses will help to balance that heart chakra for you. Foods associated that help to kind of like, balance those energies would be anything that's green peppers, zucchini, anything green leaf vegetables, spinach, kale, anything like that would be a really good way of helping to increase that energy too. And again, going back to essential oils, rose oil is absolutely one of the most amazing oils to work with any kind of like grief, any kind of like sadness, anything where your heart energy is not quite balanced. And again, with essential oils, so if you have incense, you can just light the incense and you can do a little bit of blessing, maybe even like concentrate on your heart chakra and do a tiny little blessing to kind of change that energy. You can say something, I'm going to banish all negative energy from my heart chakra. I'm going to bless it with divine love and light. So it has the perfect color, perfect size and the perfect spin for myself. So that would be one way of kind of like blessing that. But you can also just kind of like sit with it and really kind of like inhale it and concentrate on that heart energy, and maybe even see how it kind of like shifts in energy, or feel how it shifts in energy when you do that. Comes to essential oils, I wouldn't actually use it, like don't ever intake essential oils. Make sure it's always just on the outside. So you can actually use like a tissue, 1 or 2 drops of rose oil, and you just try to inhale it at that moment, and that will help too, to just kind of like work with that heart chakra at that moment. I do a lot of like consciously, like I use a lot of products on my personal level, like my lotion has rose water in there. I had lotions before where it's actually rose essential oils they used. There's just something very comforting to use that kind of product. It helps me to kind of just be more aware and more in my heart space, especially with the work I do. So I do use it on a conscious level when I use any kind of cosmetics or any kind of lotions. So that will be the heart chakra. Our next chakra will be the throat chakra. So the throat chakra is located right over your throat. It's also called Vishuddha or Vishuddhi. The throat chakra is associated with self-expression, communication, finding your voice, and individuality. Throat chakra, very interesting energy. So when I see blue energy, and my husband is actually blue in energy most of the time. So when I see blue energies tend to be very logical. They're a lot in their heads, analyzing a lot, has to make sense to them. They're not necessarily risk takers. They would have to analyze and Google and figure it out before they would do any kind of making any kind of decisions. Some blues, they have anxieties because blues tend to be more in the future. So what happens with them, they are thinking about a situation, and then they see what should happen or where it could go for them, but they don't know how it happens, so they're not in control, and that causes the anxiety gap. So literally, in a very simple explanation, blue people tend to be at point A, see point B, but don't know how to get there, and that causes them the anxiety gap. So with that said, they're always ahead. They're never really in the present moment. Blues tend to be very routine-like. They don't like unannounced change. Again, they would have to think and prepare. So any kind of changes throws them off a little bit. They're not really embracing change. They like structure. Some blues have a hard time falling asleep or staying asleep because their mind is always on the go, so they have a really hard time to just kind of like relax. Overall, blues tend to be extremely loyal. I love the loyalty they show at times. They're very, once it's set, they're set, and they're gonna stick with you no matter what comes, but no matter how it's gonna unfold. They're gonna be extreme good friends, partners, any kind of like support system for you. So just keep that in mind too, comes to the blues. They're hungry for knowledge. Blues tend to get easily bored with anything they do. They need that input, that interest, and they can definitely get sometimes a little bit, just in their head and not realizing that they need to get out of their head. But yeah, they're hungry for knowledge. Some blues, they have absolute amazing communication. They know how to express themselves very well and in a very professional way. And then some blues, they tend to be very within, like really hard to have any kind of communication with them. Most blues, for me, when I look at them, they're introverts. They're not necessarily extroverts. Where the heart chakra, what we talked about before, they tend to be more extroverts. They love people. They love being out and about. Where blues tend to be way more within in their own thoughts. I also feel at times blues get very easily overwhelmed when there's other people coming into their energy space. Some negative aspects for blues, definitely procrastination. They tend to push things off. And sometimes I think it has to do with being bored. Literally, they're bored, and then one thing leads to the next, and they have a really hard time getting their stuff together. Some blues, they're not always honest, and it could mean that they're not honest with themselves or with the situation. And again, some blues have a really hard time communicating, so it's very poor how they express themselves and how they show up for themselves. Again, overall blues, I love blue because again, for me, I'm more on that emotional space all the time, and it's up and down in energy for me, where my husband as a blue tends to come in and it's it's even. It's not up and down in energy, but it's kind of nice. We kind of balance each other nicely, and he grounds me all the time. I feel like he definitely has that ability to just kind of like take it a notch down, put some sense into me, make me stop, think, analyze, and not just go with it without any kind of thinking or analyzing what I get myself into. Some incense to work with and essential oils to work with would be frankincense, jasmine, tea tree, lavender, and sage. I think lavender would be a really good essential oil to use because it's an adaptogen. So it means it can actually adapt to your body needs. So lavender is a really nice way of kind of just in bringing it into your everyday life to just kind of like level out what is going on within you. And it's very safe to use. You can actually, lavender is one of the oils you can use without any, not being diluted. Essential oils are highly potent, so you can't really use them without any kind of dilutions, such as a carrier oil or like any kind of lotion, base of lotion, and then add the essential oils. But like there's a few essential oils you can actually use directly on your skin, and lavender is actually one of them. So if you ever feel you need to kind of like have that extra strength kind of healing happening, feel free to use that directly on your skin. The element attached to the throat chakra will be space. It's very spacey, what makes sense. They can be sometimes very spaced out. The sense of that's attached to the throat chakra will be hearing. I see a lot of people that come in that have a lot of blue in their energy. They tend to be clairaudient. So going back into the different senses we have, intuitive senses, clairaudient would be clear hearing. So they would hear energy that actually talks to them. It's not necessarily seeing like I do with the clairvoyance. The sound attached would be ham, H-A-M. Crystals that are very beneficial to balance those chakras, or the blue chakra, throat chakra, would be aquamarine, sodalite, any kind of blue gemstones. I love kyanite. Kyanite is this blue and has like white pieces in it. It's kind of like rough. It's not very smooth. Very fragile, so it can break easily. But kyanite is a really nice gemstone to actually enhance any kind of communication, clear communication. I love if you do any kind of public speaking, or you have a larger group, you need to communicate anything such as a class or any kind of information. Kyanite would be the crystal to actually work with. I love kyanite. Many years back, I had one in my overall crystal collection, and it was absolutely a lifesaver at times to just have that clear communication happening. Foods that are really good, anything blue, so blueberries, eggplants, well, eggplants are kind of a little bit darker blue. Anything blue, plums, that really helps to kind of increase and balance the throat chakra. So if you feel like you have a hard time communicating, like your throat area is always blocked, or you have a lot of neck issues or sore throats or laryngitis, you might want to go and kind of just, analyze it a little bit. Am I really truthful? Do I speak in my own voice? Do I hold myself accountable to what I'm saying? Am I compromising myself in what I'm saying? Anything attached to communication. Am I too much in my head? do I need to come back into the present moment? And I always feel it's a really nice way of reminding my clients. So when they start getting too much into the future, coming back into the present moment, and a really good mantra for that would be, I'm at the right place, the right time, right now. I trust the process in life. Like really coming back to that one energy and not thinking 10 steps ahead or like 5 years ahead. Being aware and bringing yourself back helps to kind of reduce those anxieties too. So yeah, this would be the two chakras we talked about today: Heart Chakra, Anahata, and then we have the Throat Chakra and the blue one, so green, blue, coming in. The next episode I will be talking about your third eye and then the crown chakra. And I might actually do a chakra balancing, show you how to balance it in a meditation setting, so that you kind of have all three episodes, each chakra, each of the 7 chakra, you have a little bit more in detail explained, and then giving you tools and ideas how to balance them the proper way. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions in regards to the chakras, feel free to connect with me. My website is silviasisson.com. Thank you for watching. Until next time.